Well, where do I start really? It's nice to play with a bunch of people that, aren't your stereotypical footballers really. Most people you sort of see in local football tend to be like builders or on benefits, but us lot, mixture of filmmakers, artists, bookshop owners, bankers, so many students, such an eclectic mix of people, and it's sort of outside the football realm. Like, there's so much, we can talk about so many different things aside from the football. The football's sort of the last thing we think about, really.
Yeah, we did play once with 3 artists and 2 actors, which is fairly unusual in the mining league. Yeah, but it was handy that Simon was a juggler. That came in handy. In his
It was a bad move putting the mime artist in goal though, wasn't it?
Newlyn in Cornwall is a port, much better known for its fish than its sport. However, in the shadow of St Michael's Mount, the local football team, Newlyn Non-Athletico, are a creative force in the local community. Playing their games at nearby Penzance Leisure Centre, their ground colloquially known as the Aquarium is an artistic hub. I caught up with 2 of their youngest players on the beach and asked them what it was like to play football with so many artistic players.
You've played many a position in your time, haven't you?
Well, I have, yeah. I've been up and down the pitch, mate. I've done my days up front when I was in my 16. Yeah, 16.
Yeah. Did you play the number 10 role the other week?
I did play the number 10 role.
Yeah.
Popped in a couple, actually.
Yeah, you did, that's right. That was a cracking couple of finishes. At times, I think creativity in people's lives does reflect on the blades of grass at the aquarium. I think, there's certain points where we're playing a formation or playing players in different positions, and our coach Tim Neam tries to get us to play creative one-touch tiki-taka football like Barcelona FC.
Having spoken to the young, the next natural stop was to see the club's oldest player. Calvin Hearn, who runs local bookshop Newlyn Books, explains the origin of the team and its peculiar name.
I think because of the beginning, I was early enough at the beginning to know about the beginning. It was all about the sort of people who never play football, not the jocks, the ones who love it, watch it on television and never get to have a kick around. And in the early days we just played friendlies, we weren't in a league. We played the local Indian restaurant, we played teams of kids that got together on Treneer Estate. We played anyone who could get 11 together, and that's where the Non-Athletico comes in the name. That the whole point was that we were meant to be a bit different to everybody else.
I came back from university from Bath, and I've been playing football up there for the team up there, and I was just trying to find a team here, and I saw an advert in the Cornishman. Newlyn Non-Athletico. I mean, it was just, that's what stood out to me. The non.
Alongside Calvin, Luke Frost has been playing for the club for many years. Born into an arty family, his granddad was the famous painter Sir Terry Frost. Luke was never a natural sportsman, but he found his place at Newlyn.
My mate Steve Tanner, who's a photographer, was playing there. And then I got involved, and it was Kelvin, who you've met, who owns the bookshop, and there's many other people. And it just turned out there were other artists and photographers there, and I was one of many. And we had a kindred spirit, shall we say. And my first game was against St Just, and I was in the back line with Tim Wright, also an artist. Jules, who's a journalist, not really. And anyway, and the Isles of Scilly, sort of, the right winger was coming, St Just right winger was coming down the pitch, and Tim Wright on the left-hand side. I wondered why he let him go, and then I saw that Tim was actually looking at the view of the Isles of Scilly, which was gleaming against the sun, and I stopped as well to look at that, and the right winger crossed it in, and their centre forward headed it in the back of the net. So it was 1-0 down, and I thought, this is the team for me.
Like that famous occasion when we were playing in Camborne, and Callum and I were talking about literature, and one of their players said, "Is everybody posh in Newlyn?"
Newlyn's old boys still meet up every Thursday to play some football and share a pint. And without local teams, many men would lose the social platform. Calvin says this is vastly important.
Almost all of my friends have come through Newlyn Football Club, because I'd only just moved down here when I joined the club, and it's been the social contact for all those years, and I'm still hanging out with people from 20 odd years ago that I played those first friendly games. Not many of them are left playing football like me, but we play golf, we even go on holiday together. We've really bonded as a group, and we could easily get a team of over 55s who played in those early games. with a few over 60s to go with them. It would be no problem at all. We're still all in contact, which is unusual for a local football team.
Newlyn, the club, train weekly at Penzance Astro Park, built on the site of their original playing pitch. When clubs train like this, it allows the young and the old to mix in ways they otherwise wouldn't.
I've got friends from all age ranges, from the oldest players, like Kelvin and Derek. They must be 60 by now. Yeah. All the way down to 16-year-olds. And it's something I really like. I can go around town and I can bump into these people and say hello and have a chat from any age.
This is reiterated by Kelvin, who doesn't see much youth in the bookshop.
They're probably the only young people I know, so if it wasn't for the football club, I wouldn't have contact with any young people that I can think of, certainly not in here.
The youngsters also say this works in reverse for them.
I think it's good to have a mixture of young and old players involved in our team and our squad, because sort of the amount of younger players that are involved, they're all students or like young Sam here working in the bank, and rather than just be a young team and young team ethos, it's nice for them to mix with older people that they wouldn't necessarily mix with socially.
Gives them a different perception on the game and how it's played, I suppose, as well as on our social life. It's nice to get an insight on what the old boys do.
Sadly though, for the side nicknamed the Crab Army due to the fishing link, the good football that's on display on a Saturday afternoon is under threat. This is something that seems to be the case up and down the country, but poses an even more significant threat in the far southwest. They hope the future won't be as bleak as some of the weather whilst we film.
Over the years we've had to fight to hang on to the pitch as it is now. We lost our first pitch that we played on. That became what's now the hockey club and an AstroTurf pitch. And then we moved to where we are now, and of course almost immediately they start wanting to make it into a car park, and the pressure's going to come again. They're building houses up there, some of the car park's going to be eaten up, and they'll look at our pitch and think, well, that looks handy for cars.
Our team is made up of youngsters who've come through from Penzance youth team and other clubs around, and where would they go? You can't stick to these clubs who have these great facilities, which aren't great. They're all falling down because there isn't any money in. There's a bit more money in grassroots now, but it's mainly for the youth side, which I'm involved in as well, which is good. But you need these facilities for when you move out of that youth system.
It happens all over the place. We've tried playing on school pitches, and they just don't have the manpower for weekends. If you contacted the FA, they'd say, there's plenty of school pitches available. But the reality at the grassroots level is they don't want you on there. And we've tried it and failed dismally. So it's vital those last few green spaces remain.
In most places up and down the country usually have a football league ground near them, so they would go and watch their local team, or go into London or Manchester or Liverpool, watch a Premier League team or the Midlands. The closest team we have professionally is Plymouth Argyle, just recently promoted to League One, the 3rd division. So that's a good couple of hours away from here. So for us, it's like,
people finish work at sort of 12, 1.
Yeah,
12,
usually
1, then
wander up.
Half past 1 at the clubhouse, and people can't be going out to watch Argyle then, can they?
No, and it's good.
Just ain't got the time.
It's good to make use of the Saturday afternoon, especially over the winter. There's not a lot to do, quite frankly. It keeps people off the streets, so do it. Not just for our team, but teams around here generally, I think.
If the people of Newlyn can stave off these threats, then hopefully one of the nation's most interesting clubs can keep on bringing through the generations.
Well, I enjoyed the game. I played in a game with my son. It was his 18th birthday. And he was left back and I was right back.
We lost heavily.
Well, yeah.
It inherited all your football skills.
And he nearly got sent off. But apart from that, no, that was a nice day. I enjoyed it.
My son's an example of, I think he just started playing the other day, but actually, in those days you could play when you were 14. So he's been playing for terrifyingly 15 years now. And it's great to play alongside your son, which I was capable of in the early days. Now I can't keep up with him, but it's quite great that we've often had 3 names on the team sheet that's from the same family.
You play with your son?
Many times, yeah.
And you play with your dad?
I've played with my dad.
Yeah.
It's a shame none of the good players had sons.
Still time yet.
Well, at least you put yourself in the same category. I'll let you go where you are. That's fine.